Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the HIXTAPE Volume 3, aka DIFFTAPE. This album was very exciting to me when it was first announced because I love all the HIXTAPes. HIXTAPE Volume 1 was really good, and HIXTAPE Volume 2 showed that it can evolve. And HIXTAPE Volume 3 goes even further to show that the evolution is even greater. So a little bit of history about the HIXTAPes if you do not know, if you've never heard of them. HIXTAPE Volume 1 was pretty much Hardy's debut album, you could say. Hardy was on every single song, and he brought together a whole bunch of really good singers into the album. So that included Morgan Wallen, Lauren Elena, Thomas Rhett, and yeah, just a bunch of people, and he brought them all together. And HIXTAPE Volume 2, he did something very similar, except this time he showed that HIXTAPE was really about bringing as many people together as possible, not necessarily with just Hardy in every song. So Hardy was in about 6 or 8 songs, and the rest of the songs just brought together a bunch of artists. So that included people like Sky McCreary, Ben Burgess, and David Lee Murphy. It was pretty cool. It really showed the evolution. Now this HIXTAPE, aka the DIFFTAPE, is a tribute album to Joe Diffes, who, if you don't know, is known for songs like John Deere Green, Pickup Man, Third Rock from the Sun, and such a good artist. He passed away in 2020 because of COVID. So it was really surprising to me when I heard that they were going to make a tribute album to him, and it was really cool because I like his music. And yeah, so we got the album a little while back. It took me a little bit to get ready for this review, but honestly, this is probably my favorite HIXTAPE because it does such a good job of giving that tribute to Joe Diffes without really taking away from him. Each song includes Joe Diffes in it, and it's not in a way that really takes away from him. They don't try to really auto-tune his voice or whatever. They really keep that Joe Diffes flair in there. Each song still feels like a Joe Diffes song. The only exception I would say is Bigger Than the Beatles with John Party and Old Dominion. It doesn't really feel as Joe Diffes to me, but I mean, you can give me your thoughts on what you thought of that song. That one just didn't really click with me. I guess you could also say John Deere Green and Pickup Man are two of the other ones. That's John Deere Green was with Hardy and Morgan Wallen, and Pickup Man was with Post Malone. And I mean, they're good. I like them. I still listen to them every once in a while. But there's something about them that feels off. I don't know if just because they were the first two to come out. But yeah, I did not really click with me for those 3, I guess you could say. But all the other ones, phenomenal. I've been listening to all those songs on repeat. It's just crazy. So I guess let's go over some of the highlights. So the first song that I should bring up is Ships That Don't Come In. This one is with Toby Keith and Luke Combs, and if you do not know, Toby Keith passed away because of cancer in February. Really sad. Was actually his last recording, and he did this with Luke Combs. Such a good recording. You could tell that they both put their hearts into this one, and honestly, this is probably the shortest song on the album, and every time I listen to it, I feel like it needs to be longer, but I know that it's perfect the way it is. I won't change it. Third Rock from the Sun is another brilliant highlight. This one is with Blake Shelton, Hardy, and Brooks and Dunn, and this is probably one of the ones that has Joe Diffes a little less, I'd say, but it still does a really good job. This is probably one of my favorite songs in general. It's basically what you would call a butterfly effect story, where you go listen to the song yourself. It's really good. So a cop goes into a bar, and it kind of leads one thing after another, and then the whole situation goes back over to him, and really fun song. Prop Me Up Beside the Jukebox, really good song too. You got Lainey Wilson there kind of going on the background vocals with Tracy Lawrence, working with Joe Diffes for the chorus and verses and all that stuff. Yeah, you got some notable songs here with Jake Worthington. He did Is It Cold in Me Here, and honestly, very good. He did that with Reba. Texas Size Heartache with Clint Black and Larry Fleet. Like, their voices just really work together. Really love that one. Aaron Tippin comes in with Ernest on Country. Really good. So Help Me Girl with Mark Willis and Nate Smith. I did not think that Nate Smith would be a good choice for a Joe Diffes tribute album, but he does a really good job. Really love that. I thought the same thing with Cole Wetzel too, but If the Devil Danced in Empty Pockets, really good. I love that. In Another World with Chris Young, that's the only song that has just one other person with Joe Diffes other than the one with Post Malone. Really good. Really love that one. But if I had to give one highlight to the album overall, it's the final song called Life Had Plans for Me. And this actually features Hardy and Joe Diffes' son, Parker Diffes. And holy cow, this is an unreleased song from Joe Diffes. And I think they did a really good job. I know that the song isn't necessarily like about Joe Diffes passing away, like Life Had Plans for Me, so that's why I'm gone. But I feel like that's kind of another interpretation of how you could see it. Like, this is the final song of the album, Life Had Plans for Me, and his son's helping him out with the song. It's really touching. I like it, and probably one of my favorite songs in the album, along with the Luke Combs and Toby Keith song, Ships That Don't Come In. But if I had to give this album a rating out of 10, I would probably give it a 9. There was a few songs that I don't really listen to as often or don't listen to at all, but this album is very memorable. I'll listen to it a lot, and I don't know if I'd necessarily say it replaces some of the Joe Diffes songs, but it goes really good with them. And when we talk about Ernest's album, I think I'm going to do that next review. I'll kind of explain, like, some of these songs kind of work together. Like, just because they're covers doesn't mean you can't listen to both of them back to back. They still have differences, and that's what I really like about this album. Anyways, y'all, that's it for this one. If you have any ideas for an album review, see any albums coming out soon that you want me to review, comment down below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like this. See y'all in the next one.